And Joshua gives an account of the Israelites entering into the promised land. And even though we can read in Deuteronomy and in Genesis what God had promised to the people, they still were going to have to fight to get to the land. It was in there, and sometimes we talk about being. I know songs growing up. We had songs like "I'm bound for the promised land." Oh, who will come and go with me? I'm bound for the promised land. Good song. Only problem was, quite frankly, in the promised land, there were some giants in the land. And there were people already there, even though God had given the inheritance to Abraham. And we know Abraham, Isaac stayed there, Jacob stayed there. But when Israel went down to Egypt, and they stayed there for 400 years, or around the time of Joseph, we see that in Genesis 37 through 50. And they're in the promised land, and quite frankly, they got some obstacles to face. And we know the story of the Israelites. They had come in, and God had given them, but we see in the book of Numbers, around chapter 13, 14, that they spied out the land, and they said, we can't do it, and God said, fine. You know what? You took 40 days to spy it out. I'm going to give you 1 day for every year that you're going to wander. So for 40 years, quite frankly, until all that generation was cut off. And you had to go through it. When we get to the book of Joshua, we can see that God may have given us some great and precious promises, but just because he gave them don't mean we're going to get them. Because we can miss it if we don't lay hold to what God has promised us. And make sure you have an outline. I hope you do. And don't let the size of it scare you off today. I just want it to be a little thorough today. But let's get some, before we get into our text here, Joshua 1 for this evening. We see in the book of Joshua, the author is not listed, but it's assumed to be Joshua. It recounts the clear nature of what was going through, with the exception of, as you get to the end, Joshua dies, and it's written afterwards. And so there's probably the final authors could be Eleazar, who is the high priest, Eleazar or Phineas. There, the time covers a 25 to 30 year time span of Israel's history, and it's the time, as we said, that they're past wandering in the wilderness. But I don't know if you kind of thought about it. They're past wandering. They still haven't got it, but they still have the miracles from the wilderness. When I was studying, that kind of hit me. It's like, you know what? They were still getting manna. Manna doesn't stop until Joshua 5. And when you go through and you look at the book, they're still experiencing the blessings of God like that. When you look at the theme of the book of Joshua, Israel, I like to say it this way, they're about to experience a new normal. Moses is gone. We'll go read that in just a minute. And the people who were getting ready to go into the promised land, they really had no knowledge of before what Canaan was like. And these individuals also, quite frankly, they didn't have a knowledge of Egypt. You know, when the Israelites first got to, Moses first got over, and they saw they got difficulties. It was always, let's go back to Egypt. Let's go back to Egypt. Oh, wish we could have died over in Egypt. How wonderful. Now these folks, they have no knowledge of Egypt. All they have is knowledge of wandering. And Joshua becomes the appointed leader, even though they knew and respected Moses. The theme really in Joshua is that transition in leadership and conquering the promised land. And they're transitioning now from a nomadic people to a nation state. And I have there just an outline of the book there. It's really three distinct sections there. And really in our lesson part, we're probably just going to deal with the first 12 books, chapters rather, of that, and then a couple at the end. It talks about conquering the promised land, dividing the promised land, and then they talk, the book goes into preparing for the new life. And on that outline, so look at, there are three key verses. Excuse me. There are three key verses in Joshua. And I will tell you, some of us, we have quoted these even though we may not realize they come from Joshua. Look through there. Joshua 1:8, which is our theme, our key verse for this evening. Notice what it says. If Candace, I have it listed out there. Let's read it all together from the outline version. Let's go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. I will ask you a question. How do you handle God's word? That's not an appropriate question either. How do you handle God's word? Carefully, all right? How you handle it? Right? Everybody got a Bible. This is what Bible says. See, first place, y'all are A+ group because y'all in Wednesday night. Amen. Amen. Right? But I ask you a question. What does the book mean? You know, how do you deal with it? I know some people, that they will keep their Bible in the case that it came in. They don't write in it. You know, now admit, I got this one. I used to use this Bible all the time, and I got this one because I don't know what it is. I got two Bibles post this one, and all of them, the binding's horrible, and I said I'm in the Old Testament, and Genesis to Deuteronomy fell out the Bible. And I said I'm gonna have to even get. I told my family that's what I wanted for Christmas was a new Bible. They said, I'm not getting you a new Bible. I don't know what kind to get you. And come on. But if you look at it, how many of you not really, seriously, now this is a rhetorical question. You go through your Bible and ain't nothing in it. No writing, no highlights, you know, nothing. Because, ooh, it's the Bible, right? And a lot of people ready. You reference, I'll say it this way, you reference the book, but not what's in the book. Come on. You can reference the book, but notice what Joshua says. This book of the law should not what? Depart from your mouth. How do you get it in your mouth? You got to study, right? It got to get in there, right? But you shall meditate on it. And I'm going to leave that because I'll get to that when I get to 1:8. Look at Joshua 11:23. Let's read it. Let's go. So Joshua took the whole land according to all the Lord had said to Moses, and Joshua gave it as an inheritance to Israel, according to their divisions by their tribes. Then the land rested from, you know, that is Joshua 11:23. Thanks, look. Joshua 11:23 is a culmination. You know what? 11 chapters, they're in there and they have rest. You know, you think about it. God gave them a promise 400 plus years before. And it took them a while to bring it into fruition. But that's a key. God gave them that. And then look at Joshua 24. Joshua 24 verses 14 to 15. Let's read it together. This is from the New International Version. Let's go. Now fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. Throw away the gods your ancestors worshipped beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. I tell you, this verse is a model for family living. You know, I will tell you, ready? Your faith will be in trouble if you don't pass it down to the next generation. And I will tell you, that's always a problem. See, Joshua made the declaration of this family, his family, they're going to serve the Lord. But if you don't make a determination that your children will serve the Lord, that their children will serve the Lord, think about how easy it is to get away from serving God at what we know and going into some foolishness. You know, you think about here in America. I think of my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was born at the turn of last century. She's born in 1900. And I remember growing up, some of the things that she instilled about working and how they couldn't go particular places because of segregation laws, how she had to work, how my grandfather was, he was illiterate, and he was a blacksmith helper, and how they made a living despite him not knowing how to read and write. And you go through the struggles, and I think about it. Some of our kids now, they don't know anything but good times. You think about it, they don't know life. When I think of my daughter, she doesn't know life without a computer. You know, I remember when I had to learn how to use a computer, a little scary. It's like, ooh. I had to remember in college having to type all my papers, right? Think about it. What happens when you don't know a world outside of what our world is right now? You think that's always what it is, and that becomes a normal, especially for the next generation, that they think, well, you're supposed to have Nintendo and iPhones and Xboxes. You know, it's like, you know, how many of you growing up, your parents said these infamous words, ready? Go outside and play. Right? Well, what did they say? Go outside and play, right? That was all the instruction you had, right? Nowadays, you tell a kid, go outside and play. What we gonna play? Who's gonna be our teacher, our coach, right? If this isn't soccer season, right? Whether it was playing football in the street, basketball on the court in the back, or just running up down the street, really, jump rope, hopscotch, right? Come on, you learn to do something. But if you don't learn, if you don't teach your kids, if you don't teach that next generation, right, you got to be resourceful, buddy. They'll lose it. But let's look, because I'm going to get sidetracked if I say too much of these key verses. Look at the other thing. Who is Joshua? Really, his name is Yeshua. Yeshua, which is the name of what? Jesus. Jesus is just the Greek version of the Hebrew Yeshua. So quite frankly, you could say the name of Jesus is really Joshua. And we see in Numbers 13:8, we won't turn to it for time, he was of the tribe of Ephraim, and we know his father was named Nun. He's referred to often as the son of Nun. And Moses changed his name from Hoshea to Joshua. And his name means, as the name Jesus means, the Lord is salvation. But the most important thing is, ready? Joshua is a servant. And he was a servant to Moses. And one writer says, Joshua watched Moses as he followed God in an almost flawless manner. He learned to pray in a personal way from Moses. He learned to obey through the example of Moses. Joshua apparently also learned from the negatives that cost Moses the joy of actually entering the promised land. If you are alive, I'll say this, if you are alive, this writer says, you are a mentor. Somebody's watching. How many of our kids mimic what we do? I know, realize someone is always learning from you. And you know, if we don't watch it, they can pick up on our bad examples instead of our good examples. And look at Holy Finger, because we're going to come back to Joshua. Look over at Exodus 24. Exodus 24. Look at Joshua's position. If you're there, say amen. Amen. Look at verse 13. It says, so Moses arose with who? His assistant Joshua. And Moses went up to the mountain of God. His assistant, right? Look at Exodus 32. Now Moses, he got the law. He's up on the mountain. He's communing with God. What's Israel doing? They down in the camp getting ready to have a party. Well, they're not getting ready to have a party. They have a party. Look at verse 15. You there? Yes. Exodus 32:15. And Moses turned and went down from the mountain, and the two tablets of testimony were in his hand. The tablets were on both sides. On the one side and on the other they were written. Now the tablets were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, engraved on tablets. And verse 17 says, and when who? When Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said to Moses, there's a noise of war in the camp. But he, meaning Moses, said, is not the noise of war or the shout of victory, nor the noise of a cry of defeat, but the sound of what? Y'all have turned on the party music and going crazy. Right? And Moses sees that. You think about it. I mean, Joshua sees it. When Moses is, you don't realize it, when Moses is those 40 days up in the mountain hearing from God, who's sitting there by himself waiting? But Joshua. And look over at Exodus 33. Look verse 11. It says, so the Lord spoke to Moses how? Face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and he would return to the camp. But his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, did not depart from the tabernacle. Joshua stayed with the things of God. And look over at Numbers 14. I know we get an Old Testament Bible workout this morning, this evening, Pentateuch workout. Look at Numbers 14. You there? Numbers chapter 14. Look at verse 6. You there? Yes. It says, but who? Joshua. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes, and they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy out is exceeding good land. If the Lord delights in us, he will bring us to this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protection has departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. And all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Now the glory of the Lord appeared at the tabernacle of meeting before the children of Israel. Look at that. Look at that. Joshua is one of the 12 spies, right? And he and Caleb are the only one who come back with a good report. And so what do the people want to do with Joshua? Stone him. They're like, well, you're not towing the party line. Right? And we also see, we won't turn to it in Exodus 17, that when Israel had a battle against Amalek, we think about it because it's the story Moses was holding up his hands, right? And his hands got tired. When he brought down his hands, Israel was losing. But when he kept them up, they were winning. So Aaron got under one arm and Hur got on the other and kind of kept Moses propped up so the hands would stay up. But the general who was doing the fighting was Joshua. So, a man who, now go back to Joshua 1. Here's a man. He's with Moses for approximately 40 years. By this time, he's well respected. All the other folks have died out. He and Caleb are left. You get to his commission. Look at Joshua 1. It says, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all the people, to the land which I have given them, the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that I have given you, as I have said to Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life, as I was with Moses. So I also be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and of good courage, for this people shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. I will tell you, Joshua starts with some stark reality, right? How does it start off? How does Joshua 1 start off? After the what? The death of Moses. Think about it. You're in Israel. You've been with Moses. Now he's been leading this group for over 40 years. Led you out of Egypt, through the wilderness, got to the promised land, and Moses dies. What you think? Oh. What you thinking? Who's gonna lead us now? What you thinking? I'm what? I'm turning around, okay? What you thinking? Okay, better yet, ready? How you feeling? Scared. Why you scared? Right? All of a sudden now the person you put, quite frankly, was their faith in God or was their faith in Moses?
Both. They were scared of God.
Are you ready? See, you know what? Come on. When God started to get him and he was on the mountain, and the mountain got the cloud, and you hearing all that stuff, the children of Israel said, Mo, you go talk to God. You think of it. Sometimes in life, it gets scary when the new person leaves. I mean, when the new person comes, when the leader's gone. And we see, though, look at verse 2. Look at this exhortation. It says, Moses, God does not put it, he puts it in stark contrast. Moses, my servant, is what? He's dead. And then he tells him what? Your eyes what? Go over this Jordan, you and all the people, which the land I'm giving them, the children of Israel, right? He sends them out. Right? He told, we won't turn to it, but he told Genesis 12. In Genesis 12, God said, this is the land I'm giving to your descendants. Genesis 15, he says, go, you're going to go to this area, right? You get it, right? And all of a sudden now, look at verse 3. What's the word to be for the commission there? It says, every place what? The sole of your foot shall tread, I give it to you, right? Everywhere what? Everywhere you walk. Everywhere what? Everywhere you walk. Which means what? You best go walk. Right? If I say the area is this road, to this road, to this road, right? To the back, hi people. To this way. Ready? This is the territory that God gave me. What do I have to do? I have to walk. Who are you? What are they saying?
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Get lost.
Get lost. Thank you, Sister Adrian. Right? Who are y'all? We ain't seen y'all for 400 plus years. Right? But does it everywhere. But then he gives him boundaries. On the last page of your outline, you'll see the area there, just kind of as a visual. Quite frankly, it's modern day Israel. So he said from the river Euphrates to the great river, the land of the Hittites to the Great Sea, which we know is the Mediterranean now. But notice what he says in verse 5. Look at that admonition. Verse 5. He says what? No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. And then he says this, ready? As I was with Moses, what?
So I will be with you.
The same way, right? He was with Moses. Right? Look at what Moses, you couldn't have nobody had a better relationship to God back then than Moses. He talked to him face to face, right? Come on. Well, you knew Moses did not have a shred of doubt that God was with him, right? Even the children of Israel. Now I said earlier, they were still getting the manna. What did they also have? The cloud by and they still had it. Right? So you knew that when it got up, when the cloud moved, it's like, oh, time to go. Right? But notice the word he gives it. He says, right, you got a sure victory. Yahweh would be with them. I will not leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, and you're going to be able to divide the land. Right? See, sometimes when you have to go over someplace, you need a pep talk. You know, I think of ball players when they're in the locker room, they put it in sometime before the game that the coach was like, you know, whatever he says, fellas, we can do this. You know, this is what you prepared for, and get everybody all hyped up. Why? Because they getting ready to go. They getting ready to go fight. Hold your finger there, Joshua. Turn one book back to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 31. Deuteronomy 31. When you get there, say amen. Look at verse 1. Start at verse 1. It says, then Moses went and spoke these words to all Israel. And he said to them, I am 120 years old today. I can no longer go out and come in. Also, the Lord has said to me, you shall not cross over this Jordan. So Moses is saying, my time is up. Right? Look at it, verse 6. What does he tell him? He says what? Be strong and what? Of a good courage. Do not fear, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord your God, he is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Then Moses called Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, right? Be what? Be strong and of a good courage. For you must go with this people to the land which the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you shall cause them to inherit it. And the Lord, he is the one who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Do not fear, nor what? Ready? Joshua? You getting ready? You getting ready? I will ask you a question. Anybody ever done something you scared? We may put on that bravado face like, I got this, and we know good and well. If our body, I remember I always say, this was the first time I had to preach a sermon. I was so nervous, I was holding on to the pulpit, to the podium, And I was glad it was a wooden one that covered me in front, because the folks behind me just knew that. You think about it. Go back to Joshua chapter 1. Look at verse 7. Notice what it says again in verse 7. It says, only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it from the right hand or the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall have meditated day and night, that you may observe it to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of a good courage. Do not be afraid or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. I will tell you, right? If you look at this chapter, in verse 6, in verse 7, in verse 9, and in verse 18, it tells him to what? Be strong and courageous. I will tell you, ready? Joshua is being called to boldness. And I think it says here, ready? It exposes a weakness that Joshua has. You know, sometimes when you're stepping out to something new, to something different, it's scary. It's scary. And if you try to do it in your own strength, you're going to fail. Because imagine what Joshua was going through. What was the first thing people would probably say to him? Moses didn't do it that way. Moses didn't do it that way. There's a particular church, First Baptist Church of Dallas. For 40 some odd years, there was the pastor there, W.A. Criswell, built the church. I mean, it was already the largest when he took over as a young man from George Truett, who was a legendary Southern Baptist pastor. W.A. Criswell took over, was stayed there, I believe, for almost 40 years. Built the church, the largest Southern Baptist church in the nation. Has a great ministry even to this day. After he died, he was pastor and died. Right? The succession of individuals. In the first place, to lead a 15,000, 20,000 member congregation is daunting enough. I can't even imagine having that many folks come to church on a Sunday morning. Right? But he had minister afterward. There 2-3 years, couldn't take it. Right? Somebody else came a couple of years, couldn't take it. Why? Because that's not how Criswell did it. When Criswell was here, he would do it different. And you know, everybody you start looking and you wanna get timid. Why? Because there's a legendary leader that was before you, and all of a sudden now, see, the key to victory for Joshua as well as for us, ready? You got to be courageous and know, ready, that God called you. He says to the prophet, Jeremiah, he said, listen, don't look at their faces. Can I tell you the truth? Y'all can make some faces. Church folks in the view, y'all can make some faces. You know, when you you may go a few minutes longer. I've had people. Am I right, Mr. BJ? They will look at you, and if you say something, you know, if you attacking somebody or doing something, go ahead, preacher. Say it, preacher. Go ahead. Amen, preacher. And you say, y'all need to start living right. Right? Folks will say, well, you know, I'm a pastor. And right? You have to know that God called you. This is where he has you. And it doesn't make any difference, quite frankly, what you live about. Because notice our key verse. Look at verse 8. What did he tell Joshua? This book of the law shall what? Not depart out your mouth. You shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do what is according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage, and do not be afraid nor dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. See, the key for Joshua is to say, listen, I got to focus on God's word. Right? I have to meditate in it how long? Day and night. I have to observe. Hold your finger there. Turn to Psalm 1. I know many of us can quote this, but let's read it from the scripture. Look what it says in Psalm 1. Everybody there? Look, I'll just start at verse 1. It says, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But verse 2 says what? His delight is what? Is the law of the Lord, and in his law he what?
Meditates day and night.
He meditates day and night. You have your focus. Right? How many of you go pray and get some faith? How come nobody raising their hand? How are you going to get faith?
Hearing.
Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. If you don't get the word of God in you, what? You ain't going to have no faith. It's bad grammar, but you don't understand what I mean. You are not, right? Faith, Romans 10:17 says, comes by hearing. Right? Deuteronomy 29:9, it's here on your outline. It says, therefore keep the words of this covenant and do them, that you may prosper in all that you do. Right? When you start obeying what God's word says and not thinking, well, that's not how I think it should be. Right? You go in there. Look at verse 9. Go back to Joshua 1. In verse 9, that reminder, have I not commanded you? Be strong. Now notice what he says. He says, be strong. Right? Be of good courage. Right? The next thing is what? Do not be afraid. Nor dismayed. Why? Because God's with you. Right? See, it's time to be courageous because, number one, God is with us. And he commanded us to be courageous. See, this is not on y'all, but turn to Acts chapter 4. Acts chapter 4. Look at start at verse 27. Acts 4:27, you there? It says, for truly against your holy servant Jesus, whom you anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate of the Gentiles and of the people of Israel were gathered together to do whatever your hand and your purpose determined before it be done. Look at verse 29. Now, Lord, look on their threats and grant to your servants that with all what? Boldness they may speak your word, by stretching out your hand to heal, and that signs and wonders may be done through the name of your holy servant Jesus. And when they prayed, the place was shaken, where they were assembled together was shaken, and they were filled with the Holy Spirit and spoke the word of God with boldness. People talk about now, oh, there's a war on Christianity. There's a war on Christianity. You know what? You got some boldness on your side. Go to war. Come on. You start to fight. What happens? When God anoints you, right? He sends you out for a purpose. Go do it. You're going to look at some folks and they're not going to like you. They're going to look at you strange and funny. But notice what happens with the early church. Peter and John, they were thrown in prison. They were beaten. They were harassed. It's like, oh, okay, God, you know what? We need your boldness. We're a little scared right now. But notice in verse 29, now Lord, look on their threats and grant your servants that with all boldness that we may speak your word. That's what we need. We need some courage. See, sometimes people may not like what we say, but ready, you got to have some courage of your conviction. If we believe Jesus who he says he is, if we believe God's word is what it says, we have to speak it with some boldness and conviction. And if folks don't like it, ready? So what? So what? Right? You don't even have to send God an email. So what? If you send him an email, it's going to go to his spam folder and he ain't going to see it in there. Right? So Joshua's coming through. Now Joshua is the leader, ready? He's got to lead. Look, go back to Joshua 1. Look at verse 10. Look at verse 10. It says, then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, pass through the camp and command the people, saying, prepare provisions for yourself, for within 3 days you will cross over this Jordan and go in to possess the land which the Lord your God has given you to possess. And the Reubenites, the Gadites, the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joshua spoke, saying, remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, the Lord your God has given you rest and has given you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your livestock shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on the other side of the Jordan. But you shall pass before your brethren armed, all your mighty men of valor, and help them until the Lord has given your brethren rest as he gave you, that they also have taken possession of the land which the Lord your God has given them. Meaning you shall return to the land of your possession and enjoy it, which Moses, the Lord's servant, gave you on this side of the Jordan toward the sunrise. I will tell you. Now, ready? Joshua has some renewed enthusiasm for the job. He takes on the role of leader. And he tells the officers, as we see in verse 10, he said, okay, in 3 days, we're gonna roll out. Ready? And that's something, if you are in leadership or you're under leadership, you have to say, sometimes, you know what? You need some clear directives. You need some clear directives. You know, I've heard folks, Joshua was not saying, well, we just gonna let the Lord lead and see how he goes. No. Joshua said 3 days. Y'all got 3 days to get your stuff together, because in 3 days we roll it out. And he had a word in verse 12. The Reubenites, the Gadites, the half-tribe of Manasseh, those were tribes, how Israel was laid out. Those 3 tribes had land on the other side of the river. And they had already conquered those people. And think about it. If you got your stuff, how are you going to feel about folks who don't have their stuff? Come on, you work hard, and it's like, well, do I really have to go help you? And that's what Joshua said, listen, Reuben, Gad, Manasseh, don't get complacent just because you got yours. Don't, and I will tell you something, ready? I think that's a word for some of us today who are living large. Just because you got yours, don't forget about folks who haven't quite got to the same point that you have. Because it could be easy to say, I worked hard. You know how hard we have to fight for this land? I got my land. I'm going to sit here and rest. Y'all go on and get them. And Moses said, ready? Don't forget. Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget your responsibility. But then look at verse 16. It says in verse 16, it said, so they answered Joshua, saying, all that you command to us, what? We will do. And wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we heeded Moses in all things, so will he to you. Only the Lord your God be with you, as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your command and does not heed your words, and all that you command him, shall be put to death. Only be strong and what? I will tell you. Here we see at the end, ready? Leadership has its role. Fellowship has its role. You know, sometimes, ready? When somebody's in charge, we have to say, ready? Okay, I'm behind you. Because what's the easiest thing to do? Okay, well, yeah, it's easy to walk away. But what's the other easy thing to do? Let somebody else do it. Complain. How are we going to complain? I won't do that. I don't want to do that. How do I know God heard you? Isn't that the same thing they did to Moses? Yes. Right? When we have Korah's rebellion, they're in Numbers, you know, what, God only speaks to you? He can speak to me just as much as he can speak to you. We got Miriam, his sister, and Aaron, the brother. You're not the only prophet in Israel. You're not the only one, you know, and it is so easy, right, to lose your commitment because you don't think he mentions it. She's not the kind of leader I would have chosen. But you're ready? If God chose him, what? So you that's it. That's it. You know? And you can say, well, I guarantee you, Joshua did not do it how Moses did, even though he learned from him. There's some things he may have been, and we're going to see, he has some stuff in it. But notice how these leaders submitted. Verse 17, just as we heeded Moses in all things, so what? We'll heed you. Only the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your command and does not heed your words, and all that you do command against shall be put to death. And again, they say the key phrase in this lesson. Only what? Strong and good. You know, sometimes when we look in, our lesson is entitled very simply, it's time to be courageous. When you're facing a change in leadership, when you're facing a task that's daunting, when you're facing a situation that's like, okay, God, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. You know what he says 3 times here in this chapter? Be strong. And that is what sees us through. Amen? And I'll stop there. Any questions? Any questions? All right, next week, we will look at Joshua 2. And we're going to look at Rahab and the spies. I know, I think, was it last year? Maybe last year. Late last year.